Yes, yes. Welcome in. It's Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. My name is Tim McKernan, and good morning, ladies. I'm staring into your eyes on YouTube. Yeah, they're this blue. That's Jackson Burkett, not as hot. 21 years younger, though, so probably you're at least interested. And I understand. He's also, like, over 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'2". It sucks a lot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's been tough. Tough.
Yet, 25 Hall of Fame career years as a broadcaster.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I think September 8th will be the 25th anniversary of my first sportscast on KOMU TV in Columbia, Missouri, produced by
the Colonel, Gabe DeArmond.
Of Power Mizzou.
Yeah. Who had some great nuggets over the weekend.
He did. Big recruiting week. And me and Jackson's going out to Las Vegas next week.
Either 2 weeks from Wednesday.
Thank you. And he is carrying a brick of $10,000 in cash.
Yep.
Which is coming directly from me because I am from Tam Avenue and have old money.
Right.
And it is being placed on the over on Missouri's win total this year of 6.5.
Yeah, I'm going to have a briefcase and I'm going to handcuff it to myself. Not no duffel bag boys anymore, baby.
Oh, nice.
If you watch,
Wheezy?
If you watch Atlanta, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wheezy?
Wheezy would have been the duffel bag boys, but it's a reference to the show Atlanta. Handcuffing the
Glover?
briefcase. Yeah.
Thank
Some
you.
great Glover.
Your thoughts are welcome, 314-399-9646. Air Comfort Service text line, get in the YouTube, because then you'll see just how cute we are, and you can interact. The TMA listeners and the 101 ESPN listeners, they get to know each other from 10 to 11 in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, they kind of join alliances, and everybody's a big fan of us.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they're like, we might not agree on what college football teams we like or stuff like that, but we do agree that these two have it. We don't know what that it is, but we know they have it.
That's exactly right. So, Jackson, you're going to miss 3 balloon parties?
Yes, I will be absent.
Is Matt Rocchio going to be my guy? What about Good Morning Grant?
I think either would be great, probably even better than I.
No, I don't like that. I got to tell you.
I don't know.
We're salt and pepper.
We are, yeah. There is a magic to this relationship here. But, I think that both of them are outstanding at what they do, and they will entertain the masses as good, if not better, than what I can do.
Nice. So, I am off on Thursday and Friday of this week. You can text in on that, 314-399-9646. And you are not producing. I believe Dan McLaughlin is doing both of those shows.
Right.
And you're not producing. Good Morning Grant is.
Yeah, Good Morning Grant will be...
but you'll be here.
I will be here, yeah.
What's that about?
Listen, I've described it before as a...
Vulnerable behavior, stepped away from the mic. I'm going to raise. I think I can take the pot down.
I was a little off balance. And balance...
Is the floor like my head?
Balance is key, not only to sports, but also sports talk radio.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to be on... You can't be woozy when you're doing the radio.
Ian Woosnam. He won in 91 at Augusta, am I right?
Yeah.
Tiny little man.
Yeah, he is. He's a
weeble wobble boy.
You want to talk about short? Yeah, that's a short gentleman. What I will say is that I think Grant and all of them are great. So not having me, I'm a foot. I keep wanting to say foot shoulder because of Kennedy Strode, but foot soldier.
Nice.
They ask me to do something, I do it. They ask me to not do something, I don't do it. Simple as that. I don't ask questions.
Dan said I prefer Grant.
That might be the case. I doubt it. I don't think he has any preference.
Wow. So you don't think Grant's capable?
I think Grant is extremely capable, and he's proven that time and time again.
But you said you doubt Dan prefers him.
I don't know. If anything, I've proven that I'm not capable. So I think that it was just basically a process of elimination. Jackson's 50-50 on the capability side of it.
But who's going to do this show with me when you're in Las Vegas with all the ladies?
I would bet Matt Rocchio, you two have a history together.
It's a South City thing.
South City, both St. Gabe's guys.
That's the Italian and Irish thing, though. That's been tough. That's been going on really since 19th century New York.
Right. He ran the board on TMA for a year and a half, so you two have some prior knowledge of each other, and he's great. He is really outstanding. Okay.
So Rocchio it is, because you don't think Grant is...
I think Grant is super capable.
Okay.
But, Grant...
maybe Grant doesn't want to work with us. Maybe it's that.
He produced the producers party and was really excited when I said wins per game.
Maybe Grant doesn't want to work with me. Maybe that's what now we've officially diagnosed the issue.
That could be the case, but you are... working with someone like you is it's like playing with Kareem. That's how I describe it.
Wow, that was a kind of an odd reference, but it's because you watched Winning Time last night.
I did watch Winning Time last night, and I did enjoy it. I
mean, I don't think if somebody said, like, who's the best athlete right now, and then some people might still say, like, Michael Jordan.
Right. I would
I
say
think they'd say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You see what I'm saying?
Well, Jordan had a shorter career. Abdul-Jabbar played for a long time and won every place he went, just like you. No matter where you were, whether
let me list all the great places.
Right.
590, 1380, 920, and now a janitorial closet on HD2. And that's right. That's like I played for the Pirates. I played for the Marlins.
Right, but you can't forget about your time in Little Rock, which was essentially your UCLA winning 3 straight national titles.
My 8 months in Little Rock. You're right.
And then, like, the AM radio stops were like the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, you took home a title. You brought the title.
Like Giannis?
Yeah, and then you changed your name and went to LA.
Man. The analogy works perfectly now that you've laid it out.
Right.
I'd like to apologize.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
So we got a couple things here. We have the Lil Piddles
Weekend Wrap-Up,
presented by Angry Beaver.
That's right.
Sponsored, just like the program, sponsored by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. It's a return on investment machine. That's what this is for advertisers. Yeah, it's a jubilee of ROI. And then the great Matt Rocchio, the pride of South City, told me they were playing a couple of clips from John Mozeliak on with Tom Ackerman, who's a really difficult fella to get along with.
I couldn't agree more.
Very, very ornery, not well liked.
Right.
From Mozeliak's appearance on KMOX this past weekend. And being that we were doing our program on HD2, brag, for the 3 hours opening drive is on, I haven't had a chance to hear this, so I'm anxious to hear it. So, Jackson, what do we have? Set this up for the loyal Balloon Party listeners here.
I wish I could set it up in some sort of great detail.
If you're watching on YouTube, you just got to see a bottle toss.
I walked into the studio at 10:03. And so we were on the air at 10:04, so I didn't really get a chance to hear it.
Are you waiting for the Marcus and Allen announcement? You're already in the chat?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about that, but that's not the reason. The reason...
What percentage of the audience knows what I mean by the Marcus Allen announcement? I would say 85% assume I'm talking about the former Raider chief, Humblebrag, who I would play golf with a good amount when he lived in the St. Louis area, and has a unique kind of Jim Furyk takeaway.
Really?
Yeah. But he's still like an 8. And not
the basketball talent that may or may not be signing with your Missouri Tigers coming up.
Sure, all the Illinois people love hearing your Missouri Tigers. So, yes, that is correct. What percent of people know that this announcement's coming tonight in this audience right now?
4%.
Yeah, I think that might be the right number, actually.
And I don't think it's because, like, they're not locked down college sports, but, like, recruiting and, like, certainly, like, high school recruits right now aren't as you're not focusing on them as much as you might have even 10 years ago because of the portal.
I get that. Big week for Missouri, though, football and basketball.
No doubt. But I think like portal talk is actually, especially in college basketball, is bigger news sometimes than high school recruits committing places.
I think there might be something to that. All right, so let's hear what John Mozeliak has to say. Here it is, courtesy of KMOX.
Well, I think we're going to have to look at all viable options. So, what that looks like in the trade market. Obviously, it would probably be a little bit easier to address just more in the free agent market because you're not subtracting. But I think we just have to remain open-minded. We know we have holes to fill, and I don't think it's as daunting as people think. I mean, you're always going into the off season knowing that there's some areas where you're trying to improve, and this year it's from a standpoint of simplicity, we know we have to add pitching, and it's just not rotational depth. It's also going to be in the bullpen. So I think as we get past the World Series and can open up that market, that's something that we're going to have to be very aggressive in, and hopefully we're able to fill those needs.
So I think the focal point from that particular soundbite that many are isolating in on is that it's not as daunting as people think to fill 3 rotation spots. And I suppose it depends on what your definition of filling them is. They could do it right now. As a matter of fact, they are. There are guys going out there pitching who are in a pitching rotation. But as a rotation that competes for a world championship, from where the Cardinals are at this moment with who is in the organization as a realistic option to be in the 2024 rotation to getting to that point, I would say that is daunting.
Oh, yeah.
Now, What my belief is they have the plan to go after outside the organization at least one free agent pitcher. So there's one, and they have the dollars earmarked for it. Adam Wainwright won't be costing on the payroll. They're going to lighten up, but they already have with the trades. So they will have some theoretical flexibility there. You got to get them because it takes two to make it happen. So if a free agent doesn't want to come here, then that's a separate conversation. But okay, let's, for the sake of the discussion, check that box. And I would say you're probably in the $250,000 range on that, assuming we're talking a number one, whomever it would be. Then I believe their next plan is to trade, and I think they probably already have a short list of 3 that they're going to trade the, for lack of a better term, surplus. I think it might be better to call it a logjam because surplus indicates strength, and I'm just not sure it's strength. It's just a lot of guys who play these particular positions, in particular in the outfield. And then you'll get I don't know, probably the free agent will be the 1, Michaelis the 2, and then maybe this trade is the 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'd say that's most likely the situation.
And then you have, I mean, Steven Matz is going to be in there, whether he should be or shouldn't be. But hey, man, Steven Matz has been dealing the last month. So the question then becomes, to fill 3 spots, do you then go down to the minor league level? Is Dakota Hudson the guy? I mean, what direction are they going? I don't know. It'd be wonderful as Liberatore. I just haven't seen anything consistently from Matthew Liberatore when he pitches at the major league level to believe that guy's a solution for 2024. So with that said, people, of course, if you are watching this over the final 2 months, what did you think of this weekend? Matt's pitched well. Austin Gomber actually really pitched well.
Super well.
And how the Cardinals will evaluate the final 2 months. Here's what Mazalek had to say on Cam Wax.
Sorry.
A positive impression, because one of the things that you want to be careful of is trying to solve your problem just in these 2 months in terms of feeling where if guys perform well, that means we just don't have to do anything. I think the one thing that we have to take away from this past year and really just experience is this: we need to add players that we can count on, and obviously seeing Matz do what he's doing, I think that's great. But some of these younger players that are going to go out and pitch over the next 2 months, it is important for them to show some success and to do well. But that's still not going to change our off-season approach at the moment. We know that we need to find some experience for our rotation and not solely rely on guys having great outings. But I will say, Dakota Hudson, it's encouraging to see how well he pitched the other day. So he's capable of doing it. Now he's got to show that he can replicate that and be consistent with it.
John Mazalek, I like hearing that.
Yeah, agreed.
I like hearing that.
Agreed.
I don't, this is a different set of, it's like going out and shooting a good round when you're just like screwing out with your buddies and going out and shooting a good round in competition. It's a different set of circumstances when you're out in this situation. This is closer to Grapefruit League than it is when you're competing for a division title, which used to mean something much more than it does now, since somebody from the American League Central is going to get to play for one. And then also in October. So I like that. Yeah, I don't even know if that's necessarily what he's thinking. He may have already seen enough from some of the guys, such as Liberatore and Hudson, that he's like, I know these aren't the answers. Sure. It's just not the answer. So I like hearing that answer. And potentially they're going internationally to fill one of those other spots in the rotation also. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. All right, we will have the Lil Piddles Angry Beaver weekend wrap-up. 6 wonderful questions that will make you think. Think deeply, actually. I think what you're going to find are these questions are intellectually stimulating.
I hope that to be the case. That's kind of the goal I set out on. I don't always accomplish it, but nobody bats 1,000.
Right. But I think you did today. It's the Angry Beaver Lil Piddles weekend wrap-up, and it's coming your way in the next segment here on Balloon Party, driven by Mungan S. St. Louis Acura and Toyota.
Hey, this is Ashton Jackson talking to you about Circa Sportsbook. I'll be out there in 2 weeks, and if you're heading out there, you should get in two of their major contests with $14 million in guaranteed prizes. First up is the Circa Millions, $6 million in guaranteed prizes. It's $1,000 per entry, max of 5 entries per person. You must register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada. You pick 5 teams against the spread every week. The winner takes home $1 million. There are quarterly and season-long prizes as well. They also have the Circa Survivor Pool with $8 million guaranteed to the winners, $1,000 per entry, max of 10 entries per person. Pick one team straight up every week to win. If the team loses or ties, the entry is eliminated. You can only pick each team once in a season. Go 20-0 or be the last person standing to win up to $8 million. That's all available over at Circa Sportsbook. There is no rake, so if entries go above the guarantee of $14 million, all extra will go to the prize pool. Again, you must register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada. That's Circa Sportsbook.
Yeah. Weekend wrap up. Angry Beaver. What did you do on this weekend as a most eligible bachelor? Beautiful weather. I bet you were out, and I bet you were gallivanting.
I was doing a little bit of gallivanting.
Where are you? Where did you go?
Showing myself off just a tad. Friday played golf and then went out to...
Where'd you play? You were at Log?
Stone Wolf, Stone Daddy. And then...
and shot in 81?
86.
What went wrong?
Just this ball striking situation I have.
Give me a half hour in the simulator with you.
You don't need to tell me twice. I'll be there because it's like worse than bad. Like I just have no chance.
Is that 7-iron up to 150?
I can get it at 150, but if I
really step on it.
But like I don't think I found the center of the club face since the Cardinals started the season.
Wow.
Like the toe of my club just gets demolished every single time. It's rough.
Any suggestions for Jackson? 314-399-9646. I know people are talking about your swing in the YouTube chat also. It's 101 ESPN on YouTube.
But I'm like unconscious off the tee box. And,
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, this guy.
And
buy stock in Jackson. That's what I tell people.
And 60 yards and in, I'm dangerous. But again, just can't hit an iron. Then I went out to a little brewery action, hung out with some friends, had some beverages Saturday.
Did you meet the ladies? Where the ladies at?
There were ladies.
Wow, so cryptic.
Yeah, they were having seltzers. It was lit. And then I'm moving, so I had to go.
You're moving?
I'm moving to a different place on the hill. I'm still on the hill, just a different.
Breaking news.
Just a different apartment.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this was a recent development. So I'm moving, so I have to get some stuff for the move, which is not very interesting, but it did happen over the weekend. And then hung out. A friend had a going away party on Saturday, and it was really fun.
For you moving a block?
No, see, that would have been great. No, his friend's moving to Kansas City, so went over to his house.
Why does he hate St. Louis?
That's a good question. I asked him a bunch of times, and he didn't have a solid answer, so I held him accountable.
Good for you.
So, yeah, that was, and then yesterday I played golf again.
Someone hooked Jackson up with your daughter is the first comment I see when I went into the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I'm not.
So it sounds like it's going well in there today.
Not looking to get set up. I'm pretty comfortable. All is good. Don't worry about me.
Oh, wow. You're doing just fine. Thank you. That's what happens when you gallivant.
Right. Yeah. That's that's the end goal, right? Is to be just fine.
Take 3 weeks off and quit. That's from the 618. I guess that's advice for your golf.
I don't want to. I like my job.
Merle from, I think it's a golf thing. Quit talking golf, you elitist. I will stick my size 10 white New Balance up your butt, Jackson. That's Merle from Oakville.
You have to do better than a size 10. But I don't, golf isn't that. I paid like $35 for the round. I didn't know that was really throwing my wealth around.
Move your ass down to the stadium and hold these losers accountable. And who the F is Grant? That's from Steve in Wildwood, who's now texting into the 101.
Yeah, it's great. Grant is great. Good morning, Grant.
Good morning, Grant.
He's the one who gave me the piece of information.
How many people catch the Good Morning Grant reference? I don't even know if you know what it is.
Reality Bites?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Winona Ryder, shout out to her. Wish she was in Godfather 3.
John Mahoney's character.
Right. And then there was Troy.
There was Troy. Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, I feel like I would be closer to Troy than
Ben Stiller.
Right, than anybody else. But
I'm more Good Morning Grant.
Yeah, shout out to Good Morning Grant.
John Mahoney and She's the One is one of the more underrated acting performances in film history. And I know you own goodorbad.com and do movie reviews as a cinephile.
I'm willing to have a guest post.
Yeah. Here's Jim McKernan with a blog post. It was read by me.
Like people submit stuff to like the New Yorker or something. You can submit.
Guest column.
Yeah.
John Mahoney, She's the One. Edward Burns. Jackson, do we have this Angry Beaver?
Wow, we sure do, Tim. Adam Wainwright.
I mean, to catch you off guard.
No. Adam Wainwright. How about that whole deal?
Very nice. What delivery.
It honestly makes me upset to watch Waino struggle as we approach the end of his career, and those last 2 wins seem less and less likely with every outing we see. Again, I'll ask, do you think Waino will reach that 200-win milestone? Looking back with the hindsight being 2020, do you think it would have been better for Waino's legacy to retire at the same time as Yadi now?
It's good questions. God. I'm hopeful. If I actually now had to bet it, I would say no on the 200.
Yeah.
It just, the issue is him getting to 5 innings with them leading.
Right.
And then them holding on to it. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen.
Right.
The thing that I've actually had people, I don't usually get asked these kinds of questions, but I feel like whether it be for QFTA, for a podcast, or just when I'm out BSing with people, people talk about Wainwright and ask, you think he regrets pitching? And I feel like somebody asked me that when I was out this weekend, which, like I said, is odd. But had that conversation. That's why it's fresh in my mind. And when I was asked that, I said, I don't think so. And I think because he really, first off, you hear him, if you do hear him, with Randy Carricker and Kerry Davis and Brooke Grimsley and Matt Rocchio every Wednesday. His nature is to be an optimist, or as he calls himself, a believer in multiple ways, as a very faithful Christian, and also always seeing, the positive.
Sure.
And God bless him.
Love it.
So there's not a part of me that he was like, man, I'm going to go back out there and get $17 million. and I know for almost everybody listening to the show, with you being the exception, $70 million matters. But for Adam Wainwright, it probably doesn't matter all that much.
Right.
I actually would tell you this. I think if the Cardinals don't even win the World Series, because then you got the Jordan, Manning, whatever exit, NLCS, and he pitches well en route to the NLCS. I think there's a much better chance that he would have shut it down then, $17 million or maybe more. Let's say he might have gotten more. I think the fact that he finished the season so badly, the final 3 weeks, let's not change what actually happened. He pitched really well last year, and then didn't get to pitch in a playoff series. I think that lit a fire that he's like, I'm going to go out there and show that was just, not who I am, and I'm not done, and really thought that he was going to have a great year this year. Great being relative, probably not 2009 Adam Wainwright. And so I also think when we talk Adam Wainwright in 10 years, I don't even think 2023 will be mentioned.
No.
It just isn't the way that these things work, So I do not think that. I think, if anything, one of the things that you hear guys say who actually played is play as long as you can, because when it's gone, you will miss it. You might not miss, dealing with, asshats like me.
Right, or the day-to-day
but you'll miss that sanctuary that is the locker room.
Yep.
That unique spot of just being able to, without worrying about, somebody tweeting, trying to get your career ended, being able to bust balls, for lack of a better term, give people trouble, the fraternity that forms, the fraternity that divides also, case in point being what's going on with the Chicago White Sox, the momentum, like Maroon talked about with the Stanley Cup team. It's funny how, going out and hanging out with guys can bring a team together. We started going out on the road a bunch, and then we just took off. That kind of stuff, you don't get that again in life.
Yep.
Never get it again. In competition, you're a competitor. By nature, you have to be in order to get to that level. You never get that again. You can go out and gamble on the golf course or play poker, whatever the hell's going to blow your hair back, whatever. You never get that again. So I think the thing that can get labeled is he did this just to get money, or the Cardinals were dumb to spend the money, or Bill DeWitt's just consumed with legacies. And I just don't think that's what it was. I think it was a sound baseball move that has blown up, and it sucks. But I think when we're talking about Adam Wainwright, even in a couple years, we won't be talking about 2023. Yeah. So I don't view it through that lens in any way.
Yeah. So I always, whenever an athlete's like, should I keep, I always am in favor of athletes continuing it as long as they can.
It's up to the organization if they want to keep bankrolling it. But I understand, considering the Cardinals' pitching situation, I understand them going, we got Adam Wainwright. Look what he was.
Sure.
April through August of last year.
Right.
It was only until, I think it was the first week of September, and then it started spiraling. And he came on here, not on our show, but he came on, who would come on our show? He came on the opening drive and said, and it was like two different things. One time it was like a grip thing or something. I don't know, two different things. One thing was an injury thing. It's just who he is.
Right.
And maybe it's over. Maybe he's injured. I don't know. Either way, this is it. Doesn't matter. He's done in 7 weeks. But I'm not going to go, man. I mean, I love 2006 in the World Series, and I love 2009 when he should have won the Cy Young, and 2013 when he outdueled Garrett Cole and they went to the World Series. But remember 2023? It won't cross my mind.
Right.
Just won't cross my mind.
Right, especially when you talk legacy with a guy like Adam Wainwright. You're right. You're not going to remember the one off bad year at the tail end of his career when the team itself.
In the moment, it sucks.
Right.
Because people always bring up Willie Mays falling around with the Mets.
Yeah.
But, in the whole scheme of things, I don't go, Michael Jordan, yeah, I know he's great, but how about those Wizards years?
Right.
Yeah, what about when he was owning the Bobcats? I mean, that's just not the
That's not legacy. That's
just not.
That's just a part of the story.
All right, we'll break, come back with 5 more questions from the Lil Piddles Angry Beaver Weekend Wrap-Up. You're listening to Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals lose yesterday 1-0 the final score against the Colorado Rockies. Day off today. They will come back tomorrow to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. That was their SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back. This is Balloon Party 101 ESPN. It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Text in Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. And you're welcome to watch us on YouTube and interact in the chat. Let's see what's doing in the YouTube chat, Jackson. Let's see. Lil Piddles was very disappointed, too. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means, but that's old Steve Sexton in there talking it over about you being disappointed.
Well, anytime Steve Sexton gets involved, I'm fired up.
Okay, fair enough. You got question 2? Maybe this will be good.
Yeah, I'm going to move off the Cardinals. Question 2 is originally a Cardinal question.
Oh, wow. I think I like your audible there.
Yeah.
I just don't know what meat is on the bone. It's like talking Blues this year in March. It's like, the trade deadline's over. We're just playing out the string and looking toward next year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think I'm going to pivot to probably the biggest big picture question right now.
We're going conference realignment.
We're going, college sports in general. Eli Drinkwitz was very candid recently about the state of college athletics and directions that things are going, with the Pac-12 basically shutting down, with Oregon and University of Washington heading to the Big Ten along with USC and UCLA. Obviously, Colorado heading to the Big 12. Utah looking to make an exit.
It's done, baby.
Yeah, it's done. So what did you make of Drink's comments? And how do you think the landscape of college sports will change across the next 10 years or so?
The Drinkwitz comments thing is, it's like tweeting out, I hate racism.
Right.
But I know you liked him, so dig in. My point being, it's like, well, yeah, that's a wonderful thought.
It's right message, wrong messenger is what I would say.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with the message. It's got nothing to do with any thoughts on Eli Drinkwitz. It could have been, Mark Stoops.
Right.
It's an applause line take.
Right, and coming from someone who is a benefit of the system.
But everybody who's in college football is a benefit. Okay, all right. I didn't know if you're specifying on Eli Drinkwitz.
No. Any college coach.
But some people are like, well, that's coming from Missouri. Missouri left to go to the SEC. So this isn't anything about Eli Drinkwitz. It's just like, well, who's going to disagree with it?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't, JFK's inauguration speech.
Right.
But it's like, it's getting likes on social media. So what a great moment for Eli Drinkwitz. I'm like, well, he, like I said, I hate racism. Give me my likes. I think Stan Kroenke's an ass. Ooh, give me my likes. If I'm feeling down about myself, I'll tweet that out. If I'm feeling up about myself, I'll read the STL Today comments or our text line.
Balance, baby.
Thank you. Equilibrium. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I'm high on the Tigers. I went to Missouri.
There's that thumb.
Over on the 6.5 wins. The Colonel's my boy.
Right.
All of my things for that wing of the Missouri fan base. It's like, see, he hates Eli Drinkwitz. I didn't think it was like this magical thing. Right. So that is where I am. And I know it would have been a lot easier to just say, yeah, it was great. I just didn't. I thought it was getting way more as if, this was this breakthrough moment for Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah,
I just like, he tweeted out, I hate race. It was the equivalent of that. It was,
But he took a 15-second pause before to say it.
Well, I'm not, I don't have an observation on, that part of it. Anybody can say that. And I think it's understandable. Am I at 15 yet?
Just let it breathe. Go ahead.
Who is in the wrong on the conference realignment?
Who is in the wrong?
Yes.
The powers that be with college athletics.
That's that you ought to do a Twitter tweet rant then, because if you say, if you're really not going to actually say, here is the problem, here is my idea for a solution, then I don't have much time for you. And I'm, of course, using the royal. I have all the time in the world for you, as you know, when we do our podcast and I talk for 3 hours and you politely nod. But I'm saying, like, one of the things, what can you do? Let's run for office. I'll run for whatever party. It doesn't matter anymore because whatever. And I'll say the problem with society is,
Right.
Yeah,
and we'll just make hand motions.
Right, and I'll do this.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'll talk about families and communities and education and neighborhoods. And people go, God, this guy really.
Yeah, he's speaking.
I might not know my ass from a hole in the ground in reality, but I can use my hand on you, for lack of a better term, with my words.
No doubt.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. So did Oregon do something wrong?
I think that,
and I'm not mad about anything, but I just, you know, it's like money makes the world go round, and who doesn't try to make more money? Mm-hmm. And then if you're in a spot where you're going to lose money. So here's the deal for the Pac-12, because I realize most people probably weren't following the Pac-12 television negotiations. They got a deal from Apple TV. Now, I love Apple TV, and this might be the rest of the show, by the way, so just let me know when we got a break, because I'm gone. This is it.
The fire's been started.
Yeah, I don't know. I love going back to this as my reset. What is Andy Richter's pinned tweet?
His pinned tweet says, "It's an incredible time to be alive if you're dumb and mean."
Right. And that's all due respect. So here is the issue. Oregon and Washington, if they stayed in the Pac-12 and took care of those student athletes, if they stayed in the Pac-12, it would have cost their universities $60 million. Okay?
Yeah.
That was what was on the table from Apple TV. Now, I love Apple TV selfishly watching city doggies play.
Right.
Because it's so convenient. I love that. But I also know deep down, MLS would love to have a television deal with take your pick of whomever, because it's going to make more money. But they're in the spot that they're in. They're certainly getting more and more attention. Messi's turning that franchise into something. A month ago when they were here, they were a joke. Now they got everybody talking about them, and they're winning, or they came back last night. So my point being, you are where you are at the moment, and that's when you get what you're paid. That's business. You know, all of a sudden now we have a bunch of capitalists who want to be socialists in the Southeastern Conference. It's a fascinating moment in American history. So SEC's got the juice. Pac-12 doesn't have the juice. So Oregon and Washington's got an out. They have responsibilities to their university. Who's the university? Their students. And they can stay and make it easy for the softball team to travel between Pullman and Eugene, or they can make another $60 million by joining the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Well, what's the choice?
Right.
So, yeah, the travel sucks for the non-revenue sports, but what are we going to do? Bitch about football? Football makes it possible. Football, Jackson, watch this. Football is the nipple from which they survive.
No doubt.
It can sound harsh, but these programs exist because of football. So we're going to bitch about the head coaches of football teams? I'm not saying you are. This is an overall thing, because these are applause lines. If there was a solution that could be made, like after a 3-minute speech at a press conference after, football practice, then Eli Drinkwitz or whomever, this isn't about Eli Drinkwitz, should become the commissioner of something to fix it. But in reality, these are tough problems, and they need serious people, and a lot of it is not something that is going to end with happily ever after. Personally, as I said on the show last week, it's my opinion that football will break off, and it'll be like the NFL. Chip Kelly said this, UCLA's head coach, who was in the NFL, and UCLA is now going to be traveling to New Jersey to play conference football games, that it should break off to be the NFL. Now, that can happen, but then what's going to happen to your non-revenue sports? And so this is all about football. And I think football, after a while, goes, well, God, we're kind of bankrolling all of these other sports.
We like to operate how we want to operate.
Right. And why can't we do what we want to do? And so that's the direction it's going. The point being, I don't know what the solution is, and I also don't know who we blame. Who do you blame?
Well, I think it's bigger than all of this. It's bigger than college sports. It's bigger than sports in general.
So I don't think the athletic directors or the university presidents in Seattle, Washington, or Eugene, Oregon, or Los Angeles, or 10 years ago in Columbia, Missouri, or College Station, or 13 years ago in Lincoln, Nebraska, in Boulder, Colorado, or last week in Boulder, Colorado, were wrong. They have a choice. Their responsibility is to their university. That is their job. And if they are going to lose money, material dollars, which will then actually impact their student athletes a hell of a lot more than a long flight, then their responsibility is to go where the dollars are. And that's business. So you can tweet out these abstract things and not have a clue of how the world works, and you'll get likes, but those likes will be just as much worth to your operation as softball is to these college sports programs. The reality is it's moved by dollars. And it's a capitalistic society. And these universities have an obligation to not lose money. And if they have an opportunity to make more, then that's what they do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because the alternative is they lose money. Now, if they're just making money, so then they're lining their own pockets, that's a different conversation. And then you're hurting people. That's a different conversation. But they would have hurt themselves if they would have said, you know what, we're going to stay in the Pac-12. Yes, it's going to cost us $60 million, but we like the idea of the kids from the softball team and the baseball team being able to have the easier drive between Pullman and Corvallis, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, that's why it frustrates me when these kinds of conversations go, and then you have like Stephen A. Smith and Chris Russo screaming with spit flying out of their mouths about things that actually don't matter, but are applause lines, because then it mobilizes the population's mindset to dumb things that don't matter. The reality is what usually matters in most conversations, at its core, money, sex, religion. That's the motive for damn near everything. And in this case, it's money. But it wasn't because the people at Oregon and Washington are going, well, screw the kids who play baseball. It's because we're going, oh, my God, the TV deal that the Pac-12 is able to get, not because the commissioner is a bad guy, but because they just aren't as desirable a commodity, in part because of the time zone. This is what we got. We got Apple TV. We aren't the SEC. We aren't the Big Ten. So we got $60 million less in Apple TV. And then Oregon and Washington go, oh, my God, we got to go. Because if we don't go, somebody else is going to go. Maybe Arizona and Arizona State go, even though it makes no sense on the surface that they'd be in the Big 10. But hell, it makes no sense that UCLA and the USC go there based on the old way. But the reality is it's $60 million. They have a responsibility to take it. And does it suck? I suppose it sucks. But that's the way that the world works. At least this part of the Western world works. And so I understand them doing it. So Missouri is better off that it went to the SEC. I think most people would agree that. Now, if you liked going to see them play Iowa State and Kansas State and Oklahoma State, I understand. But financially, that was Missouri's responsibility. And it always goes back to business. And so I just don't have a whole lot of tolerance for applause lines to get likes on social media. Because oftentimes those are things that are dumbed down that take our eye off the ball. And like I said, the ball is usually money, sex, or religion. And in this case, it was money. So I understand it, even if it is inconvenient for the non-revenue sports and football to have to travel across the country. But what was their choice? Present a problem and present a solution. But again, it's a serious problem, and it requires serious people. And some smart people haven't been able to come up with the solution. And my point is, nobody's doing anything wrong. So if you're just going to go, the media or society, then you're misdirecting the conversation. But you'll get likes, but it's not going to accomplish anything. I'm sure we got a break. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Man, I'm still worked up. I'd love to go longer. Maybe we'll just go straight into QFTA.
Cool with me.
We had some good QFTA. You have QFTA time?
Sure.
Tim McKernan Show podcast, by the way.
No doubt.
And here's I'm going to try to macro this thing. Here is why I get worked up about it. I feel like in 2023, you have some charlatans who get into power and take your pick of whatever element of the world this is, because they can give you popular crap on social media, but they're really not saying anything that helps. They just are good with like bait, you know. But then when it comes time to get in a room and actually solve problems where you don't have to worry about likes, but you actually have to fix something, they're worthless. And that is why this kind of thing sets me off. This is a complicated thing. We're talking about conference realignment, that for those of you just joining us. And the reality is we can all go, God, it's a shame, man. It's a shame. You know, I mean, poor Washington State and Oregon State and Stanford and Cal. But it's survival of the fittest. That is capitalism. So these are the schools that were in position to go to the Big Ten, and their university presidents had a choice. Well, we can stay with the Pac-12 and keep our geographic rivalries, or we can go get $60 million. And if we don't get it, somebody else is going to get it. And now it's going to impact not just our football team, but all of our teams, and then also our academics. Kids who are from Portland, or take your pick of wherever, that went to the University of Oregon, or kids from wherever that went to the University of Washington. And that is the reality of it. So tweeting out how unfortunate it is, sure, that's wonderful. But there's realities to it. And this goes for a number of other issues that go on. And then this thing about I got to get my likes, which I believe is at the core of a lot of the dumb crap and also the mean crap, is something that takes our eye off the ball. And that is why I can't sit here and go, yeah, I loved what he said. Well, I mean, yeah, I like it if we lived in utopia, but we don't. And there are tough choices that have to be made. And smart people haven't been able to figure out the solution. And usually the smart people aren't the ones that are sitting there spending their days on social media looking for likes. We got to wrap it up. BK and Ferrario are up next. For Action Jackson, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Mungan St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota, the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, and also the place where I get my cars, and I would love for you to get your cars there. I had a couple of listeners this weekend text me or DM me and ask for that secret number, and that secret number is 314-252-0029. And now you're texting or calling Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, Peter Munganess, the people who you can ask any question you may have about a car at Munganess St. Louis Acura, Alton Toyota. And even if you didn't get your car from there, get your car serviced at Munganess St. Louis Acura and Alton Toyota. The secret number is 314-252-0029, or go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com. It is Munganess, where I get my cars, where I would love for you to get your cars, and even if you didn't get your cars from there, get your cars serviced there. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura and Alton Toyota. 314-252-0029, or go online at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com.